This whole thing about GM, the CEO saying that there's going to be a $5 billion cost to the tariffs, but she also said something very important. She said this will not be passed on to the consumer. So where is it going to come from, you might wonder? Well, they brought down their projections.
Not projections all of it will
profit.
be
No, she said none of it will be passed on to the consumer, that this will come out of the profits. They projected 14 billion profits. They're taking that projection down to 10 billion. This is what we want.
Okay, but wait.
This is what we want.
Okay.
We want tariffs. We want manufacturing. We want the billionaires to pay their fair share, and we want the cost not to be passed on to the consumers. And that's what we're seeing. Such a great example.
Oh my God.
Share this tab instead. Boom. This is a funny one. This is a funny one. So this is CNN. And just look at how they talk about the tariffs. It almost seems as if they're upset that the American people are not going to have to pay the extra cost that the tariffs would lead to for the companies. But just pay attention. Pay attention, and y'all tell me if y'all are getting the same thing from this.
The S&P 500, the Dow Jones, all up today. They've recovered everything that they lost since Liberation Day. Things are actually going really, really well. This whole thing about GM, the CEO saying that there's going to be a $5 billion cost to the tariffs, but she also said something very important. She said this will not be passed on to the consumer. So where is it going to come from, you might wonder? Well, they brought down their projections.
Not all of it will
profit.
No,
she said none of it will be passed on to the consumer, that this will come out of the profits. They projected 14 billion profits. They're taking that projection down to 10 billion. This is what we want.
Okay, but wait.
This is what we want.
Okay.
We want tariffs. We want manufacturing. We want the billionaires to pay their fair share, and we want the cost not to be passed on to the consumers. And that's what we're seeing. Such a great example.
Hold on. Let me just try to understand this. So GM's profits will decrease probably significantly as a result of this. Let's take that.
I'm telling you what they said.
I know. I'm just saying. Okay, let's take that to the next. What do you think is going to happen when GM's profits suddenly drop? What will happen to GM and the people that work there?
Didn't she already say that? Was Abby not listening, or did I miss something? Didn't she already answer that? I'm sorry. I'm going to go back for a second. That
this will come out of the profits. They projected 14 billion profits. They're taking that projection down to 10 billion.
GM projected 14 billion in profit. They're taking that projection down to 10 billion because they're going to absorb the cost of the tariffs. So while everybody was jumping around here saying these tariffs, they're going to cause the prices of goods to go up, even though we understand or agree that we should have more manufacturing, more factories, more jobs, feeding more American businesses and employing more American workers rather than just going outside the country for cheap labor. Even though we agreed on it, the one thing that a lot of Democrats and liberals said was that, oh, the prices of everything's going to go up. Donald Trump had been saying that does not necessarily mean that the prices of goods are going to go up to the consumer. We had the conversation on here where I told y'all, I said companies can absorb it. I remember months ago, we did a whole debrief on the tariffs. The companies can choose to absorb the cost. General Motors is choosing to absorb the cost out of their profits because they believe that this is something that's good for America.
Ew. Sorry to interrupt the video. We got a new challenge. 20,000 by the end of April. We fell short in March, but we're gonna get our goal this month. Thank you all in advance for those that are gonna continue to like, subscribe, maybe even leave some comments and let us know how we're doing. And on that note, let me let y'all get back to the video and I'll see y'all soon. Ew.
So they're choosing to absorb the cost, right? And now that's making them look favorable to Americans. I've had this conversation in person with different companies. Shout out to my sis-in-law, Fran. But I've had the conversation with multiple people, multiple companies who are deciding to absorb the profit or absorb the cost out of their own profits for the greater good of America. That's a marketing tactic. I mean, I would use it as a marketing tactic. That's a huge selling point. That's showing that you care for American companies. We got women owned. We got black owned on all this other stuff. Maybe we should put a sticker. Maybe, matter of fact, companies, y'all should put a sticker on your product or something on your website or social medias letting you know we absorb tariff costs. We support America first. Maybe y'all should put that on there. Since everybody else wants to sell products based on it just being women owned or based on it being black owned or whatever else we're seeing nowadays. Let's keep going. So keep in mind, she's saying that General Motors said they would absorb it. It can't get through Abby's head. Abby can't conceptualize this because she's been absorbing all of the anti-Trump, anti-tariff nonsense that all the liberal mainstream news outlets have been pushing.
This is what we want.
Okay, but wait.
This is
Hold
what
on.
we want.
Okay.
We want tariffs.
Steven.
We want manufacturing. We want the billionaires to pay their fair share,
Okay.
and we want the cost not to be passed on to the consumers. And that's what we're seeing. Such a great example.
Hold on. Let me just try to understand this. So
Let me try to
GM's
understand.
profits will decrease probably significantly as a result of this. Let's take that.
I'm
to
telling
be-
you what they said.
I know.
not
I'm
their
just
projections.
saying. Okay, let's take that to the next. What do you think is going to happen when GM's profits suddenly drop? What will happen to GM and the people that work there?
The CEO herself, Mary Barra, thanked President Trump for this because she is a patriot and she
Scotty.
understands that the situation we're in with China is not sustainable.
Shareholders would like to have a word.
We sold out our future to China. Somebody had to do something
The
about that.
shareholders
So the
would like to have a
corporations,
word.
the corporation's going to take less money. They're going to eat the profits out of the sense of.
She's saying shareholders would like to have a word. Abby, don't you represent the party of the people? Why are you emphasizing the shareholders' perspective? The shareholders, we know they control the CEO. The CEO just came out and said they're absorbing the tariff cost. But Abby's talking about the shareholders would like to have a word. Abby, are you a shareholder? Would you like to have a word? So I guess you're assuming, Abby, maybe that if you were a shareholder, you would say, hey, we're not covering that. We're pushing that on the people. This is supposed to be the Democratic Party. This is what happens when you hate Trump so much that you're so anti-Trump. This is an example of Trump derangement syndrome. It has these people hustling backwards in their own heads, trying so hard to disagree with something that Trump did to the point where they end up going against their foundational principles, if they have any, but they claim that they're for the people. They're against the elites. They're against the oligarchy. They're against the billionaires that Trump is supposedly giving all these tax credits and benefits to. But here Abby is acting like she's the shareholders' attorney. The CEO of the company said, hey, we're absorbing this. Why not celebrate that, Abby? Why not promote that? Why not push that? You're sitting here looking at it like the shareholders would like to have a word. We're not okay with that. This is crazy, bro.
Somebody had to do something about that.
Shareholders
The
would like to have a
corporation's
word.
the corporation's going to take less money. They're going to eat the profits out of the sense of
It's so great
patriotism.
to hear Democrats suddenly being so
Look at Vince. He doesn't understand it. Perhaps that other side is so anti-American, they can't understand how a company would say, yes, we're going to not make as much money because this is for the greater good of America. They can't even understand it from a marketing play. Even if these companies don't really care about America, they're smart enough to realize like, hey, we should probably get behind this. This makes a lot of sense for America. We claim and market ourselves as the American company, right? General Motors. Maybe we should actually get behind this thing. He can't even understand it. Look at his face. Look at his face when he asked this question.
Less money. They're going to eat the profits.
Look.
China. Somebody had to do something about that.
Shareholders
So the
would like to have a
corporation's
word.
the corporation's going to take less money. They're going to eat the profits out of the sense of
It's so great
patriotism.
to hear Democrats suddenly being so, pro-corporation and pro-corporate.
No.
profits.
Actually, to be honest with you,
Amazing.
I'm not being pro-corporation. I'm actually being pro-people because what's bad for the corporation is going to be bad for the worker. Now,
Hold up. Now, what's bad for the corporation is bad for the people. I've been telling y'all for over, as long as we've been doing this show, what have I always been saying? I've had this conversation with my parents multiple times, and I know my mom's listening until 8:45 until she goes to her workout class. So let me have a conversation with you, Ma. What did we say when we talked about the big companies getting tax breaks? Right? I said, like, yo, the big companies, the ones that risk it all so the rest of us can have comfortable 9-to-5 jobs, absolutely they should be getting some type of breaks. absolutely we should be incentivizing companies who hire the rest of us so we can have our 9-to-5, be comfortable, get our paychecks every 2 weeks without worrying about, oh, well, we're getting a little bit less because the company's profits went down, the company's profits went up. They should get breaks. And I said that the better that we incentivize it with them, it's actually going to be better for the people in the company, the actual workers. Now, that was such a hard concept to understand, not necessarily for my mom, but I'm saying for Democrats and liberals. That was such a hard concept to understand. But look at Van now. He's saying, well, actually, I'm for the people. He doesn't really believe this. He's just trying to figure out on the fly what to say so he can disagree with Trump. Yo, look at this.
Money. They're going to eat the profits out of the sense of
It's so
patriotism.
great to hear Democrats suddenly being so, pro-corporation and pro-corporate.
No. Actually, to be honest with you, I'm not being pro-corporation. I'm actually being pro-people because
OG
what's
in the
bad for
building.
the corporation is going to be bad for the worker. Now, look, I couldn't care less about
Sound
any.
like Mitt Romney over
Listen. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't care less about any of the corporations.
Corporations are people, my friend.
They're not. Just listen to what I'm saying.
It's like upside down world.
It is.
Yeah, it's upside down world. I'm glad you recognized it, Abby. You tried to save it with a little bit of a joke, but y'all sound crazy on here. Y'all sound crazy. These are the people that we're listening to give us the Trump criticism so we can go in our day-to-day lives and talk ish about Trump. My fault. I had to turn the fan a little bit. It's getting hot in here. You feel me? It's getting hot in here. This is what I'm talking about. These people are backwards. They're literally upset that General Motors is deciding to absorb the profit so it won't be passed on to the people. They're trying to create something. Wait, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, they're doing it because of patriotism? You're telling me that they're doing it? She just told you what the CEO of General Motors said. All right, man, y'all. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, and we're going to continue it.
It's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.